Top-performing athletes earn an incredible amount of cash, with many professionals earning millions per year. But some are more responsible with their cash than others. And some athletes even go from being rich to broke in no time flat. Today, we're looking at the top 10 athletes who went broke. Number 10. Mike Tyson. Iron Mike Tyson is without a doubt one of the greatest heavyweights in history, with a dominating career record of 50 wins and only 8 losses, with 44 of his wins earned by devastating knockouts. In 1986, the ferocious boxer became the record holder for the youngest boxer to become a WBC, IBF, and WBA champion at just 20 years old. The champ earned big bank off of his championship title fights and spent money like a king. Tyson bought at least $4.5 million in cars and motorcycles, multi-million-dollar houses, $3.4 million in jewelry, and all the luxury items you can imagine. He even purchased Siberian tigers, a strange choice that has been satirized in movies, comics, and cartoons over the years. The 2 tigers cost him over $100,000, and he also had to pay for a trainer, which set him back another $125,000 every year. Tyson also spent over $8 million in personal expenses, phones and pagers, during his career, and he even sunk a staggering $2 million on a special bathtub for his first wife. Even though Tyson earned $400 million from his fighting career, his excessive spending made him declare bankruptcy in 2003, before he even retired from the sport. Number 9. Dennis Rodman. Rodman's had a strange life since he left the basketball court behind. The former 5-time NBA champion forward likes to live on the edge, sporting numerous piercings, dyed hair, and he even wore a wedding dress to promote his autobiography, Bad As I Wanna Be. Despite having numerous high-profile relationships with the likes of Madonna and Carmen Electra, Rodman only earned about $26 million from his NBA career. With significantly less spending power than the clique he liked to hang with, Rodman burned through his cash fast, filing for bankruptcy in 2014, just 8 years after he retired from the NBA. Rodman has been seen hanging with the likes of Kim Jong-un, but his friends in high places couldn't pull him out of hot water. When he filed for bankruptcy, Rodman owed over $800,000 in unpaid child support. Number 8. Dorothy Hamill. Hamill won figure skating gold in the 1976 Winter Olympics. She was one of the most popular athletes at the time, and she held that spot for many years. In 1993, a survey by the Dallas Sports Marketing Group found that Hamill was more popular than even the superstar Michael Jordan. That same year, she signed a contract for the Ice Capades, which was a traveling ice performance show. She would later rise to co-owner of the troupe, but even though she was earning $1 million a year from her contract, she had to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in 1996. She blamed her husband for pressuring her into making questionable financial decisions, but she didn't let her financial woes get the best of her. She continued touring and performing in ice capades in person and on TV. And 11 years later, she wrote a New York Times best-selling memoir called A Skating Life, My Story. Number 7. Lenny Dykstra. Former star of the Mets and the Phillies, Lenny Dykstra ended his MLB career after a little over a decade in the sport, with his career spanning from 1985 to 1996. By 2008, Dykstra leveraged his fame to boost his total net worth to around $58 million. However, his spending troubles were just beginning. He spent a sizable $18.5 million on a mansion in Thousand Oaks, California, and invested in a couple internet startups, including his own website for investors called Nails Investments, and another financial advice column on TheStreet.com. Dykstra also printed his own magazine aimed at athletes and lavish lifestyles called Players Club. However, just 1 year later, in 2009, Dykstra claimed he was the victim of mortgage fraud and he lost his home to the bank. His bankruptcy papers listed only $50,000 in assets and a staggering $10 to $50 million in liabilities. That claim came crashing down just 3 years later when he was forced to serve a 6.5-month prison sentence for bankruptcy, fraud, concealment of assets, and money laundering. Number 6. Allen Iverson. Former shooting guard for the Pistons, Allen Iverson worked his way to the top to become the MVP of the league, and his success also helped him become one of the highest-earning players in the world. During just one season, from 2008 to 2009, Iverson's contract granted him a whopping $21 million. However, a little under a year later, in 2010, Iverson and his wife Tawana filed for divorce after an 8-year-long marriage. The proceedings showed that even though Iverson made bank off his basketball plays, he was virtually broke. On a monthly basis, he spent more than he earned on new clothes everywhere he went, so that he wouldn't have to carry luggage. And of course, he only bought the finest designer brands. He was not only broke, but he was in debt. The divorce dragged on for a few years until 2012, when Iverson claimed in court that he didn't even have money for a cheeseburger. However, despite both he and his wife confirming his tricky financial situation, he's begun trying to flip the script to retain his public image. He also has a trust fund with Reebok, valued at $30 million, though he can't access it for another 10 years. Number 5. Brock Williams. Brock Williams had a fairly short NFL career as a cornerback for 3 different teams over the course of 4 years. Williams had to cut his career short due to injuries, and medical bills and lavish spending caught up to him. Perhaps the biggest sign of his hardships was when he went on to the famous gold and silver pawn shop featured on Pawn Stars. There, Williams pawned his 2001 New England Patriots Super Bowl ring. These are some of the most coveted American football items, since they are only given to the winning players of each Super Bowl. The 2001 Patriots ring is even more special, because the team designed their rings to be more valuable than other rings by adding more diamonds than the regulations allowed. Rick from Pawn Stars accepted the ring as a loan for a measly $2,600, and he gave Williams 120 days to pay off the loan and reclaim the ring. Williams never came back, and the ring is still available at the shop for a staggering $100,000. Tough times for Williams. Number 4. Darren McCarty. McCarty had a long 13-year career in the NHL, and he was at peak popularity for many years. Unfortunately, the NHL doesn't pay their athletes at the same level as some other more popular sports. So, although he won the Stanley Cup 4 times and played for 15 seasons, he only earned about $15 million. Normally, that would be enough to live on for the rest of a person's life. But McCarty went hard and fast with a rock and roll lifestyle filled with gambling and drugs. As a result, he filed for bankruptcy before he even retired. On top of his financial troubles, the IRS caught him for avoiding taxes, and he was also featured on a pawnshop TV show, True TV's series Hardcore Pawn. He may not be as rich as he once was, but he landed on his feet and is now working for the pawn shop featured on the show. Number 3. Terrell Owens. Owens is another star athlete who had a significantly long career in his sport before falling on hard times financially. He played in the NFL as a wide receiver from 1996 to 2011, and he became renowned for his touchdown celebrations. Over the course of 15 seasons, Owens earned a whopping $80 million, but he never got to really enjoy his earnings, as just 1 year after he retired, he was forced to file bankruptcy. Owens was hit hard by a crash in the housing market, and other bad investments left him in the hole. He also had to pay out roughly $50,000 per month in child support, which quickly depleted his earnings. Number 2. Diego Maradona. One of soccer's greatest stars and most controversial figures, Diego Maradona faced substantial financial hardships despite being a recipient of FIFA's Player of the 20th Century Awards. As one of the best soccer players of all time, Maradona broke the world record for highest soccer team transfer bonuses twice, and he broke another record for highest paid coaching position when he signed to Al Wassel from Dubai, where he earned $3 million per year. However, his polarizing personality impacted his financial life too. He earned a lot and spent even more. The Italian government is not too happy with Maradona, claiming he owes an incredible $50 million when he played with Napoli over the span of 7 years in the 1980s and early 90s. Number 1. Michael Vick. American football is one of the highest-paying sports in the world, and of all the possible positions, quarterbacks are the highest earners by far. Not only was Vick a QB, but he was also extremely successful during his time with the Atlanta Falcons, Philadelphia Eagles, and the New York Jets. His lifetime earnings capped at over $100 million. However, Vick would spend 2 years in jail after he was caught organizing a dogfighting ring. In 2008, while he was serving his sentence, Vick filed for bankruptcy protection, but his debts racked up fast while he was unable to earn any money. In just 2 years, he managed to accrue a debt of over $18 million. When it comes to money, it really is easy come, easy go for some of these less financially responsible athletes. Do you agree with our list? Are there any broke athletes we missed? Let us know in the comments below. And if you liked the video, be sure to slam dunk that like button and subscribe for more exciting sports videos.